Imagine what it would be like if no one could unsettle you ever again, not through words, not through silence, not through betrayal. The majority of men are easily provoked by minor incidents, a disrespectful remark, a broken promise, or a slight delay. Suddenly, they become angry, bitter, or exhausted. This occurs not because the world is inherently cruel, but because they have never learned to master their emotional responses. But the Stoic knows something we have forgotten. Power belongs to the man who stays calm under pressure. Mental strength is not muscle strength. It is control. And self-control begins with an unshakable truth. You do not have to react. In this video, you will learn how to build emotional control according to Stoic philosophy. Consider how you can prevent others from triggering your emotional responses and safeguard your inner peace like a man who refuses to yield to anyone's chaos. You will come to understand why lowering expectations is not a sign of weakness, but rather an act of wisdom. Why silence is not surrender, but a deliberate strategy. And why emotions themselves are not the enemy, but the way you respond to them truly matters. If you have ever felt that others undervalue your calmness, or life continuously pulls you out of balance, you are not alone. But today, that will change. This is not temporary motivation. This is transformation. Follow me. What you are about to hear could change how you face everything. If this touches you, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share with someone who needs it. Because power is not found in noise, it is found in stability. And from this moment forward, nothing and no one can control your peace anymore. First, transform self-control into your protective shield. There is a brief moment, almost overlooked, when a man relinquishes his power. Someone interrupts, someone mocks, someone ignores, and inside him, a storm begins to brew. His chest tightens, jaw clenches, and he speaks louder than necessary. Just like that, calmness disappears, not because the other is strong, but because he reacted, and in that reaction, he surrendered. We often confuse reaction with strength. We think the one who roars back is powerful, but the truth is colder than that. Power is not in the noise. Reflect on this. Power resides in the silence you deliberately choose. Self-control does not mean having no emotions. It means refusing to let emotions dictate your actions. You do not need to become emotionless. You need to become precise in your responses. Anger is an instinct. It is fast, loud, hot, and dangerous. It seems like action, but it often leads to regret. When someone insults you and you explode, they win because they have affected you. They have decided your state, and you unknowingly let them script your life. The man who is easily provoked is the one without walls, without boundaries. His emotions are public property. Anyone can step in, press a button, and own him in that moment. Now imagine another man. He hears the same insult, but is unshaken. His breathing remains steady. His gaze does not blink. He does not suppress the reaction. He has mastered it through consistent practice, because he knows that controlling emotions is not about appearing tough. It is about not handing the key to your peace to strangers. This is the power of the Stoic. It is not about ego. It is about mastering your own time, energy, and emotional space. Perhaps you have experienced this. You are stuck in traffic. Someone cuts in front of your car. Your heart races. Words are about to escape your lips, and then what they disappear. But you are stressed, distracted, unbalanced. That is the price of reaction. You pay it long after the moment has passed. The Stoic man understands this. So he pauses. He lets the emotion arise, but does not let it take over. He breathes deeply. He remembers that the world does not owe him perfect order. The control lies within him. Most people live in survival mode, ready to defend, prove, retaliate. But that posture weakens you. It places your identity in the hands of others. If they insult, you retaliate. If they praise, you smile. You are no longer steadfast. You become reactive. And the reactive person is a slave to the world's emotional fluctuations. So how do you build the shield? You start with stillness. When provoked, say nothing, do nothing. Feel the wave rise within you, but do not ride it. Observe it, acknowledge it, but do not follow it. That moment of stillness is your power. It is where you break the cycle. Over time, you will react less. Become calmer. You stop fighting noise with noise. You stop chasing justice in petty conflicts. You protect your energy as if it were the blood that sustains you. Because it is. This is not passivity. The Stoic does not ignore injustice, but knows when to act and when to let go. He knows when to speak and when silence is true strength. He chooses his battles, and when he engages, he does so with clarity, not anger. You do not need to prove your strength. You need to master it. The loudest person in the room is often the least controlled. The quiet, calm one who does not blink is the one who is felt. That is the one who is respected. From now on, let your first instinct not be reaction, but stillness. Make stillness a habit. Let calmness become your reputation. When you master that, you become untouchable. Not because the world stops challenging you, but because it no longer holds what once controlled you. Second, lower your expectations of others. You keep getting disappointed because you expect too much. That is the trap. It starts quietly with the thought that someone should understand better. Do more. Empathize. You expect them to say what you want to hear. Value you. Respect boundaries without reminder. But when they do not, you feel it. The disappointment, the anger, even the sense of betrayal. You start thinking everyone is letting you down. But the truth is simpler and harder. They are just being themselves. The pain does not come from their actions, but from your expectation that they would be different. Expectations are a silent contract. You write alone, but no one else signs. You thought friends would stand up for you. Your partner would be more patient. Colleagues would recognize your efforts, but it did not happen. And in the gap between what you wanted and reality, your peace slips away. That gap is where resentment grows. You carry the weight of what you wish others would be, and it starts to crush you. The Stoic does not waste time blaming others for being themselves. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every morning that he would encounter ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest people, not because he was negative, but because he was prepared. When you accept human nature, you stop demanding perfection. You stop giving your peace to the nearest disappointment. You do not expect calm from storms or clarity from chaos. You learn to see people as they are, not as you want them to be. Imagine entering a room with no expectations. You do not assume the server will be polite. the driver calm. Or friends. Remember your birthday. You observe. You interact. You respond. But without hasty reactions. You have freed yourself from the binding threads of assumptions. You are no longer shocked when someone disappoints you because you have let go of the idea that they owe you what they never promised. That freedom, though small, changes everything. Most men link their inner peace to others' behavior. A stranger's rudeness can ruin their morning. A loved one's silence can cause weeks of tension. But what if you could untie that knot? What if you stopped expecting others to deliver your peace neatly wrapped? What if you stopped demanding wholeness from those who are still broken? That is where Stoicism resides. It embraces reality as it is. It does not demand fairness from those who do not yet understand it. It does not require empathy from those still battling themselves. It says, meet people where they stand, and do not let it shake you. This is something you can do right now. Think of someone who often disappoints you. A friend, colleague, or family member. Ask yourself, am I upset because of what they did, or because of what I thought they should do? Write it down. Say it out loud. Let that question become a mirror for reflection, because in that moment of contemplation, you will see clearly, you were not betrayed. You just expected too much. Reducing expectations does not mean becoming cold. It means becoming clear-sighted. It is not the end of hope, but the beginning of understanding. You do not need to stop caring. You need to stop turning your hopes for others into weapons they use to hurt you. Start today. I will see others as they are, not as I wish them to be. I will not beg the rain to become sunshine. Instead, I will build a shelter. That is the Stoic's freedom. Not freedom from others, but freedom from the burden of changing them. Third, practice indifference to provocation. There are people who do not want peace. They want your reaction. They poke, prod, wait for you to explode because that is how they feel in control. When you lose your calm, they win. Not because they are stronger, but because they have pulled you into their chaos. The moment you react, you enter their frame. You let them decide who you become. That is the real loss. Not the insult, not the argument, but letting them touch your core. Indifference is not apathy. It is not ignoring injustice or pretending not to be hurt. In the Stoic spirit, indifference means not letting anything unworthy of your energy take it away. You choose where your mind dwells. You decide who gets entry. You guard your focus as sacred because it is. Every time you let a fool provoke you, you abdicate your throne and dive into the mud. Remember the last time someone deliberately tried to anger you? A stranger on the road, a disrespectful colleague in a meeting, a family member who always knows how to say the thing that sets you off. You feel the fire rise. Words form. Tension in your chest. That is the moment. The test. And most people fail. They speak too fast. Act in haste. They lose what they most want to protect their strength. Now imagine a different outcome. The same insult. The same provocation. But this time, you pause. You feel the urge to react. But you do not. You let the words fall, but not enter your mind. You observe, then decide, not worth it. And you walk away, not in retreat, but in mastery. That is not weakness. That is dominance. The man who does not blink commands the space. The man who stays calm owns the moment. Epictetus said, if someone tries to harm you and you do not accept the harm, They fail because pain requires permission. Insults need consent to stick. But when you respond to that noise with silence, when you stop reacting to every blow, you rise beyond their reach. You become invulnerable, not because you fight harder, but because you do not fight at all. This does not mean you are passive. You still act when necessary. You set boundaries. You speak truth. But you choose the battlefield. You are not dragged into every petty war. You do not explain yourself to those who only want to misunderstand you. You do not argue with noise. You step over it. That is the Stoic's emotional strength. It is training the mind to remain calm in practice. The next time someone tries to provoke you, try this. Pause for 3 seconds. Just 3 seconds. In that silence, feel everything, but do not act. Ask yourself, do I really want to let them control me like this? Then decide that pause is the space where character is formed. That stillness separates the strong from the impulsive reactor. Practice this daily in small moments at the store, in traffic, or in arguments. Refuse to respond just to feel better. Let your silence speak for you. Let your calm unsettle them. The one who must shout has lost something. The one who does not blink makes everything shift. Let them talk. Let them mock. Let them try. But guard your energy like gold, because in the end, it is gold. When you no longer react to every provocation, you gain something precious. You gain clarity. You gain peace. You regain yourself. Start now. Find a situation today where you would normally flare up, but do not. Smile. Breathe deeply. Keep moving. That is how the Stoic wins. Quietly, completely disengaged from their game. 4. View each situation as a test of character. You are not being punished. You are being forged. That frustrating moment, that unexpected challenge, is not chaos, but a mirror. Life is showing you who you really are when things do not go your way. Most men falter. They complain. They ask, why me? But the Stoic man asks, what am I being called to build within myself right now? Pain is not personal. It is instruction. Every disappointment is a weight for your character to lift. Every failure is the forge for your discipline. But only when you stop reacting and start responding thoughtfully. Only when you stop seeing yourself as a victim and start seeing yourself as the architect of your inner strength. The world does not get easier. You just get better at facing it. When someone disrespects you at work, when your partner snaps unexpectedly, when plans fall apart at the finish line, you are in life's gym with 2 choices. Let the moment shrink you or sharpen you. Most men get angry and blame. The Stoic breathes, observes, learns, then decides, I will not waste this pain. The truth is, ease does not build character. Précieux dose. Discomfort. The hard conversation, the betrayal, the delay. They are not obstacles in your path. They are the path. But you only see that when you stop running and start using them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, the fire turns what it burns into new flame. That is not poetry. It is practice. What seems to break you becomes your fuel. It is easy to be kind when others are kind. Easy to stay calm when the world complies. But when someone yells in your face, when life throws curveballs, when ego is bruised, that is when you see the truth. Think carefully. At that point, your values are no longer theory. They are tested. That is when real strength shows. not in comfort, but under pressure, and the man who maintains calm under pressure can walk through any hardship. Do not wait for the world to become easier to grow. It will not. What you can do is change how you view difficulty, not as an interruption, but as an invitation. You are invited to step into a stronger version of yourself, and you do not need a perfect life to do it. You just need to see every uncomfortable moment as training, even the small things, especially the small things. A delayed email, a cold glance, traffic jam. That is where the real work happens. Quietly, daily, intentionally. This is how you apply it. The next time irritation rises, notice it early. Do not run from it. Name it. Then ask, what is this shaping in me? And decide intentionally how you will respond. Will you yell and lose control, or stand still and build resilience? Will you argue or hone your ability to stay calm? Strength does not come naturally. It is what you practice in moments like these, not pretending not to feel, but choosing not to be ruled by feeling. You are allowed to struggle, but not to fall. You are allowed to feel the burn, but you can also turn that fire into fuel. The next time life pushes back, do not see it as an insult. See it as an opportunity, a chance to forge what no one sees: your character, your mastery, your quiet strength. 5. Observe emotions without letting them control you. A man does not fall because of emotions. He falls because he follows every emotion. Anger flares, and he acts. Fear whispers, and he freezes. Shame appears, and he hides. But what if you could watch it all, like clouds passing across the sky, without becoming the storm? This is not denying emotions. It is detaching their control. Emotions are signals. They come fast and fervent, but they are not commands. You are not the rage. You are not the anxiety. You are the witness to them arriving. And if you learn to observe without merging, you keep your freedom. Freedom is not in repressing emotions. It is in refusing to be swept away by them. And that is a choice you can train like a muscle. The Stoic does not tell you not to feel. They tell you to feel, but do not blindly follow. Imagine standing in a crowd. Someone mocks you. You feel the surge. Jaw tightens. Heart races. It is real. But now, pause. Instead of immediate reaction, you breathe. Instead of lashing out, you say, "This is anger. I feel it, but I will not act on it." You have broken that chain. You have taken the wheel of your life. Most people cannot do that. They live in reactivity. They believe if they feel it, they must express it. But Stoic practice teaches the opposite between stimulus and action. There is a gap, and in that gap, you reclaim control. This is where emotional strength is built, not in pretending to be untouched, but in standing firm as the inner storm rages. To do this, you must practice mindfulness. Observe without judgment. A thought arises. You do not grasp it. An emotion surges. You do not let it define you. You watch, and through watching, you create distance. In that distance, you find power. We often act before thinking, and then blame the world for the consequences. But the root of chaos is not what happens outside. It is what inside you that you have never questioned. When you give the microphone to emotions, your values are silenced. When you let impulses lead, your wisdom is left in the corner. A Stoic man reverses that order. He sees the flame but chooses not to be consumed. He feels the wound but does not strike back because he knows strength is not in displayed force, but in restraint. And restraint is not weakness, it is clarity. It is the quiet command of one who waits, observes, and then chooses. You can start practicing this right now. At work when frustration builds, at home when disappointment floods in, when tired, when provoked. Before speaking, pause. Before acting, check yourself. Ask, how do I feel, but what do I want to build from this emotion? If the answer is nothing useful, let it pass. If it is growth, act. But only after the inner storm has subsided. Just 10 seconds of mindfulness can change everything. This is not theory, it is practice. Emotional resilience is not loud or showy. It does not need applause. It lives in the silence between your emotion and your choice. And each time you pause, that silence grows stronger. You might think you lose something by not reacting, but you are actually regaining everything. Your balance, your vision, your dignity. The world does not need more men shouting back. It needs men who hold steady, see clearly, and act only when the time is right. So start now. The next time emotions surge like ocean waves, do not fight them, nor follow them. Stand firm, breathe, observe, and move forward with will, not instinct. 6. Be grateful, even in discomfort. Gratitude is easy when the sun shines and all is well. But when the day starts with bad news, when a trusted friend lets you down, when traffic steals an hour of your life, what do? Most people complain. They replay the moment. They look for someone to blame. And with each complaint, they dig deeper into bitterness. But the Stoic does not dig. He rises because he knows gratitude is not reserved for ease. It is a tool for illumination. Being grateful in pain is not pretending it does not hurt. It is recognizing that in discomfort lies opportunity for growth. A moment to hone patience, test endurance, stretch humility, while others get lost in lack. The Stoic seeks what is there a lesson, a shift in perspective, an inner muscle strengthened. He sees discomfort not as a disruption of peace, but as where peace is proven real. Imagine you are in line, running late. Your phone buzzes endlessly with no progress. You feel the heat rise, want to sigh, want to snap, want the world to cooperate. But instead, you breathe. You look around and tell yourself, what does this teach me too? Suddenly, it is no longer a long wait, but a training ground. You are not wasting time. You are building tolerance. That shift, that single choice to reframe the moment, is how emotional strength is forged. Most men avoid discomfort. They chase convenience. But that creates softness, not strength. You grow when life resists, and you choose to engage. When you ask, what in this annoyance reveals about me, that question turns irritation into insight. And when you are grateful for the moment, showing you what still needs work, you take the first step into true resilience. Seneca said, a gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a person perfected without trials. That is not metaphor. It is reality. Growth does not come from ease. It comes from resistance. But only when you meet resistance with the right mindset. Gratitude is that mindset. Not gratitude for injustice or cruelty, but for the chance to respond better than before. This is the pivot. You no longer beg for an easier life. You begin to ask for a stronger self, and each difficult moment becomes the answer to that request. Gratitude now becomes strategy. You use it to alter how you experience failure, not to love everything that happens, but to waste nothing that happens, even pain. Practice this now at the end of each day. Recall a moment that bothered you, a small scene of discomfort. Then ask, what did this moment help me forge? Did it demand patience? Did it challenge my ego? Did it remind me to breathe before speaking? That is your gratitude, not for the event, but for the opportunity it brought. Write it down, speak it. Let it change how you face tomorrow. Most people live in reaction. The Stoic lives in refinement. He does not wish for ease. He trains for clarity. And when pain comes, he meets it with equanimity. Not panits. He does not welcome every situation, but he refuses to leave without learning something. Start this practice not once a week, but daily. Anchor gratitude where you feel pain. Plant it where you lack, and watch your mind shift. Not to false positivity, but to real emotional independence. Gratitude like this keeps you calm in chaos, focused in noise, and more fully alive than those around you. 7. Use the perspective of time to shrink problems. A small fire looks huge when you stare too close, but step back, and it is just a flickering flame. Time does that to problems. It shrinks them, not by changing the facts, but by changing the view. What seems unbearable today often becomes trivial from a distance, but most people never take that step back. They live with their face pressed against every annoyance, every insult, every delay, burning in moments that should have passed. The perspective of time is the Stoic scalpel. It cuts through the illusion that the present is all that matters. It teaches you to ask a better question. Will this matter in a month, a year, or 5 years? Suddenly, the sarcastic comment, the cancelled plan, the missed opportunity, all feel light, because most things that unsettle you are not permanent. They are passing, and a mind that waits will not suffer twice. You miss a flight. You lose a deal. Someone forgets to say thank you. In that instant, your heart races, your mind reels. You build stories, rehearse responses, nurture grudges. But if you pause not to deny the moment but to see beyond it, if you whisper to yourself, this will pass. In a year, I will not even remember. That one thought drains the venom from nearly every emotion, not by forcing it, but by reframing. Many men's mistake is believing urgency equals importance. They treat everything as life or death, every argument as the end, every mistake as catastrophe. But urgency is illusion. The Stoic knows this. He does not rush into battles. Time will resolve. E conserves energy. He knows what pain to confront, what to outlast. That is not indifference. It is discipline. Imagine standing in a storm, rain pounding, wind howling. You are soaked, shivering, angry at the sky. But someone tells you it will pass in 5 minutes. You would not panic. You would wait. That is the power of perspective. The ability to hold your ground, not because it is easy, but because you know it is temporary. You suffer more when you believe the storm is forever. But the wise know most are not. Seneca reminded, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. When you apply time to pain, you shrink imagination's chains. The small insult fades into oblivion next week. Failure becomes a stepping stone next year. Heartbreak is a memory with edges softened by time. And when you grasp that, you stop bleeding from paper cuts. This is a simple practice. When something upsets you, do not ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Ask, "How long will this matter?" Then answer honestly. The truth is briefer than your reaction. That is your cue to let go. And letting go is not weakness. It is wisdom. Let the emotion come. Fail it, but do not build yourself on it. Let time carry it away while you stand firm. You do not owe anyone a response to every discomfort. You do not need to explain your calm to those addicted to urgency. You just need to know. Your peace grows as your view expands. Let time be your ally. Use it to filter what deserves your energy and what does not. And then you realize how many problems grow only because you stand too close. Step back, breathe, zoom out. In 5 years, most of what worries you today will not even register. So, do not let passing clouds block your light. Let time reveal what matters. Let perspective restore peace and walk through today with a steady mind, undistracted by noise. That is how you rise unshaken. Every man desires strength. Not the loud kind that draws attention, but the quiet strength that cannot be disturbed. What you heard today is not theory. It is practice. It is the silent discipline of emotional control, the ability to pause, think, choose, and protect your peace as if your life depends on it. Because in many ways, it does. When you start mastering your reactions, lowering expectations of others, and seeing each disappointment as a character test, you change. You are no longer a slave to emotions. You are not pulled in every direction by noise, by others, by circumstances. You begin to live with clarity. The Stoics were not saints. They were men who struggled like you, but they trained their minds daily through self-reflection, through stillness, through intentional response. Now you can do the same. You do not need perfect conditions to start. You just need presence. You need practice. You need to remember that inner peace is not found but built. One habit, one choice at a time. So today, start small. When someone says something rude, do not retaliate. When plans change, do not complain. When discomfort arrives, meet it with awareness. Train emotional strength like a muscle. Turn every challenge into your training ground. Over time, the world remains noisy, but you will not be. I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. What recent moment tested your peace? How did you respond? Let this space become your journal of growth, a reflection of the person you are becoming. Remember, true calm is not the absence of conflict, but the refusal to surrender your mind to chaos. Hold that truth, live it, and carry it quietly but firmly.